Yo, what is up, guys? My name is Nicholas Earl, and welcome back to another edition of Baseball Talk with the O Brothers. And today, we have another prospect video for you guys. It looks like you guys really liked the debuting prospect video. It's one of our better viewed ones in a while. We are going to do the opposite now. We are going to do prospects to keep an eye on that will not be debuting in 2026. Now, these are going to be a lot of draft picks from last year's draft, a lot of young guys. These are players that we expect up in 2027 or later. So that's kind of the premise behind this video. If we think they're going to be up in 2026, they're not part of this video. And I'm using the ETA from MLB Pipeline when referring to that. So if MLB Pipeline says players do up in 2027, that's the number we're going with. So let's get it started. We're going to start in the West with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Josue De Paula, my bad. For them, he is one of the top 20 prospects in all of baseball, number 15. The Dodgers' number one prospect, uh, who last year made it up to Double-A Tulsa only for 4 games. They expect him up in 2027. He was signed in 2022 out of the Dominican Republic, a little less than $400,000, 397.5. 60 hit, 60 power, 40 run, 50 arm, 40 field, 60 overall. So he's a bat first profile there for sure. Last year, very limited sample size in Tulsa, but he was in high A, where he did an 827 OPS in 98 games played, had 12 home runs, 44 RBIs, drew 81 walks. So just another one of those Dodger prospects on the way up, someone to keep an eye on for. He'll probably start the year in Double-A and spend most of the year in Double-A, might get to Triple-A later in the year, and could debut as early as next season. We'll move on to the San Diego Padres, and we'll look at their first round draft pick from last year. Left-handed pitcher Cruz Schoolcraft, the 25th overall pick in the 2025 draft out of high school. 60 fastball, 50 slider, 60 changeup, 50 control, 55 overall. A lefty that has a lot of potential, I believe. And his fastball was touching 99 last year before the draft. He will be starting the year in low A. He did get into one singular game in low A where he threw an inning and 2/3 to a 10.8 ERA, but I'm not rating into an inning of 2/3 sample size. This guy signed for $3.6 million, which I believe is above that slot value or very close to the slot value for 25th overall. Someone to keep an eye on for it because the Padres like to trade all their other prospects. So this is the best I can come up with. Cruz Schoolcraft, left-handed pitcher of the Padres system. We'll move on to the Diamondbacks system here, where we have outfielder Slade Caldwell, not in the 2026 edition of the top 100 prospects. He's currently number 2 according to the 2025 prospect rankings on MLB Pipeline in the Diamondback system. The 29th overall pick of the 2024 draft. I've heard comps to Corbin Carroll for his build, 5'9", 182, due up in 2028. He has 50 hit, 45 power, 70 run, 45 arms, 60 field, 50 overall. So it looks like a speed defense first profile here for the first rounder in 2024, signed for about $3 million. Last year, he did get to high A Hillsboro, where he had a 681 OPS in 66 games, no home runs, 18 RBIs, but he did steal 12 bases. He stole 13 in low A, where he had a 914 OPS. He's somebody where the bat is still a work in progress, and he will have to that's something that he I think can improve on this upcoming season, which makes him someone interesting to watch. But Slade Caldwell, outfielder for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Let's head over to the San Francisco Giants, and this is an interesting profile here because we have number 82 ranked prospect in all of baseball, and I believe the top one in the Giants system, um, where he was just in the DSL last year. He's 18 years old, signed in January of 25 with the Giants. 55 hit, 55 power, 60 run, 55 arm, 55 field, 55 overall. Out of Panama. Nope. He played in Panama. My bad. Um, Signed for a little bit less than $3 million. Got into only 52 games for the DSL San Francisco Giants team, where he's had an 859 OPS, had 4 home runs, 24 RBIs, 37 walks to 36 strikeouts, 33 stolen bases. So a very speed-driven profile here. Uh, Granted, showing the 60 grade speed there definitely says something there. So Huascar Gonzalez, somebody that I believe could come stateside this year now that he's 18 years old, and will probably get some time in the Arizona Summer League, um, as well as maybe some low A action for the Giants. Let's keep it going to another top draft pick in the 25 draft, and the top prospects in the Rockies system. 19th overall. Oh wait, now that was born in 2025. 2026, 24th overall prospect, Ethan Holiday. They expect him up in 2029, so he's got a few years still. 50 hit, 65 power, 50 run, 55 arm, 50 field, 55 overall. Son of Matt Holliday, brother of Jackson, was drafted 4th overall to the Rockies, which I think was a good spot for him to be drafted, especially with the profile that he does have. He did get into some games last year with low A Fresno, which I believe is where he'll start. He did have a 737 OPS, which is kind of impressive considering that he struck out 33 times in 71 at bats, which is a major, major concern. But something that I think that some offseason tweaks and things along those lines can help lower that strikeout rate. Also, it was a very, very limited sample size, only 18 games, 71 at bats, but still striking out that much in your pro debut is definitely nerve wracking. But that being said, I definitely think he is somebody to keep an eye out for in 2026 with the for Fresno for low A. He might get to high A by the end of the year. Someone we shouldn't be expecting up to the major leagues for around 3 years. Someone who this one was a tricky one for me to put on the list because if you told me he was a late call up, that wouldn't shock me at all. ETA has him at 2027 according to Pipeline, but with his profile, I feel like definitely someone who can be a fast riser through the Seattle Mariners system. The 3rd overall pick in the 2025 draft, Cade Anderson out of LSU. 60 grade fastball, 55 grade curveball, 55 grade slider, 60 grade changeup, 55 control, 55 overall. Did not get in any games last year. He was part of the the championship winning team in LSU. He absolutely dominated in that championship against Coastal Carolina. He was a draft eligible sophomore, so he is a little bit younger for the draft class for college arms. 21 years old. He signed at $8.8 million. I thought there was a really good chance he would go number 1 overall in the draft. I think that was a really, really nice gift for the Seattle Mariners for him to drop as low as he did. Cade Anderson, left-handed pitcher for the Mariners, someone to keep an eye out for if you're a Mariners fan watching their prospects. Let's head over to the Houston Astros, where they have a very limited farm system to talk about because they've got no top 100 prospects. The Houston Astros. So we'll go with their top pick in the MLB draft last year, which is their number 2 prospect, Bryce Matthews, who's already made his debut. Is their top prospect. And it's 19-year-old Xavier Nyans, shortstop out of high school last year. He had 45 hit, 65 power, 45 run, 60 arm, 50 field, 50 overall. A major power-driven profile here for Mr. Nyans. Did not get any games last year. He was drafted 21st overall and signed for $4.12 million. And he was from Mountain Vernon High School in Washington, where he did participate in a high school home run derby as well. A lot of pop for Nyans. I think he's somebody that we can see on top 100 lists uh, in like maybe the first or second update when we get some players graduating off the list that are starting in the MLB, because obviously you have a lot of players um, like a Nolan McLean that will be graduating soon, and Atreya Savage who will be and Bubba Chandler. So once you get guys like that, a Peyton Tolley that'll be graduating off these prospect lists, I think Xavier Nyans will definitely be a top 100 prospect when that time comes. We'll continue on with A.J. Russell of the Texas Rangers. The Rangers are up next. Now, unfortunately, it could have been Sebastian Walcott, but he is out the entire year. I thought if he was going to play, though, I thought Walcott was going to debut. And then the other two guys in front of him, Jose Corniel is expected up this year, as well as Winston Santos, which lands us on A.J. Russell, who will be potentially starting the year in the complex with the Rangers. Could get to low A. A 70 grade fastball out of Tennessee, drafted 52nd overall in the second round to Texas in last year's draft. He was a reliever that transferred to being a starter, and they overslotted him at $2.6 million with that second round pick. Has not gotten into any games yet, but a 70 grade fastball, 55 grade slider, 40 grade changeup, 50 control, 45 overall. Somebody who I could probably see it dropping that changeup and being a fastball slider, high leverage reliever is kind of where I see his profile going long term, and potentially being the closer of the future for the Texas Rangers in a few years. He tops out around 98. I think by the time he makes his debut, he could be topping out around 100, especially in 1 to 2 inning spurts. A.J. Russell, second round pick, 52nd overall, was my selection for the Rangers. And if you're wondering where their first round pick went, it was part of the Mackenzie Gore trade. Let's move on. We have the Athletics, which I was absolutely stunned when this player dropped to them in last year's draft, and that is Jamie Arnold, left-handed pitcher, who was their first-round draft pick last year, 41st overall prospect in baseball, drafted 11th in last year's draft. 60 grade fastball, 65 grade slider, 50 grade changeup, 55 control, 55 overall. I liked him personally better than Liam Doyle because I thought Liam Doyle had a little bit too much reliever risk, which we will be, I believe, will we be talking about Liam Doyle in this video? Central. Yep, Liam Doyle. We will be talking about him later in this video. Jamie Arnold did not get into any games. He'll probably start on the complex or low A. He definitely has the profile to be able to be a decently fast riser through this athletic system. Signed for the full $5.99 million. And he threw a couple bullpens that I'm reading here, but he'll get his first taste of pro ball this upcoming year, and I look forward to seeing what Jamie Arnold does in the low ranks. I think he starts in low A. Maybe he gets a start or two in the complex. All right, this one was a very difficult one because considering that if you're a prospect in the system of any type of status, that it's very difficult for you not to rise really fast in the system. But we do have one guy here, the 4th rated prospect in the Angels system, Jack Slawinski, who is a 3rd round pick in 2025, 79th overall. 55 grade fastball, 50 grade curveball, 55 grade slider, 55 grade changeup, 50 control, 50 overall. Don't look at that 3rd round draft pick and overlook him though, because he was a major over slot pick, because they gave him a bonus around $2.5 million, which is a pretty decent second round pick. And he is somebody who, because when they took Tyler Bremner in the second overall, they used the money they saved from Bremner's deal to sign Slawinski here. So somebody that the Angels are very high on that I think that they won't rush because he is out of high school, which is very rare for you to see. Very rare for you to see the Angels take high school arms. So somebody I definitely want to keep an eye on, as he'll probably be starting in the complex or low A for the Angels. Third round pick for them in the previous draft. But don't read too much into that. He was a major overslot because I believe he was committed to. Um, I think they had to sign him away from a college, if I remember right. Just great podcasting here. Uh, I don't see where he was committed, but I thought he was committed somewhere. Give me 2 seconds. He was committed to Texas A&M, and the Angels signed him away from Texas A&M with the overslot there. We'll move on. We go from the West to the Central, and we will start with the best prospect on this list that the best prospect we'll be talking about today, because all the other top prospects around him are all due up this year. Because out of the top 6 prospects, the only one not projected to with an ETA of 2026 is Jesus Madej of the Milwaukee Brewers, someone who has absolutely flown up prospect rankings. And he will be starting the year in AA, and I think could very quickly be in AAA and make his debut by opening day next year at 19 years old. Last year, he started the year in low A with Carolina with the Mudcats, and in 83 games had a 761 OPS. They bumped him up to Wisconsin, where he had a 915 OPS in 27 games. He got up to AA Biloxi with for 5 games, so he didn't have much of a sample size there. He will start the year in AA. 60 hit, 60 power, 60 run, 55 overall, 55 field, 60 overall. Just unbelievably consistent and highly rated prospect, someone that you should be seeing in the major leagues at 19 years old, which would be crazy. The how fast he rose. Definitely someone to keep an eye on. The best prospect on this list, Jesus Madej for the Brewers. To the Cubbies now, which the Cubbies, their top 2 prospects are due up this year, and this is their guy that's not due up this year, and that's Ethan Conrad, their first-round draft pick in the 2025 draft, who was 17th overall out of college. And he was signed at $3.5 million, which was below slot, which is kind of interesting there. Kind of an underslot guy, due up in 2028, and he has not gotten into any action yet. Definitely someone who's going to be starting in probably low A. And I think he was a draft eligible sophomore, if I remember right. Or he got drafted out of his junior year. Just someone to keep an eye out for. Just an overall very consistent profile. He's the 3rd rated prospect in the Cubbies system, but only below Ballesteros and Wiggins, which I think Wiggins can be in the top, can make the major leagues this year. And Ballesteros is already in the big leagues. So Ethan Conrad of the Chicago Cubs, someone to keep an eye out for there. Let's keep it going with Alfredo Duno, catcher for the Cincinnati Reds system, who has really impressed. Signed in 2023. His ETA is 2028. He's currently with Daytona. Would not be surprised to see him debut in high A this year, because he did spend 113 games in low A Daytona. 55 hit, 55 power, 40 runs, 60 arm, 50 field, 55 overall. Has definitely shown the athleticism to stay behind the plate, and has a really strong arm behind the plate as well. And he signed for $3.1 million in 2023. Last year with low A Daytona, had a 948 OPS, hit 18 home runs, 81 RBIs. His offensive profile is improving, and he is somebody whose defensive profile is good enough to stay behind the plate as well. Someone to definitely keep an eye on as he will enter probably high A entering the year. Alfredo Duno, catcher of the Cincinnati Reds. One of my favorite players on this list, and someone that I am going to be very interested to keep an eye on for because I think he can rise pretty fast for a prep arm. He's due up in 2028 for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it's Seth Hernandez, the right-handed pitcher out of Corona High School in California. 19-year-old, was drafted 6th overall in 2025, has a 70-grade fastball, which I believe was touching 100, um, 97, 98. And yeah, some registered in triple digits. 60 grade curveball, 55 grade slider, 60 grade changeup, 55 control, 55 overall. Very nice pitch mix, 4 above average pitches. And I thought there was a chance that he can go number 1 overall. He just had that type of profile. He has not debuted yet. He'll probably start the year with the Florida Coast League Pirates in rookie ball, or for maybe a start or two, and I think he will be in the major leagues, or not in the major leagues, in low A, off the complex. Seth Hernandez, one of my favorite profiles to watch this upcoming year for minor league baseball. Someone to definitely keep your eye on as he's becoming one of the best pitching prospects in all of baseball. I believe he is the number 5 rated. He's the number 5 rated right-handed pitcher in prospect rankings. We'll move on. The St. Louis Cardinals and Liam Doyle, the left-handed pitcher, their first-round draft pick in last year's draft, 5th overall out of Tennessee. An absolutely elite fastball who was touching triple digits last year in Tennessee. 50 grade slider, 50 grade cutter, 55 grade splitter, 50 control, 55 overall. I do think there's a little bit of reliever risk with Liam Doyle, but if he can maintain this 4-pitch mix, fastball, slider, cutter, splitter, and just let that fastball set up for his other secondaries, I think he could be okay. Signed for $7.25 million out of the draft. He did get into some games last year. He actually got up to Double A. He threw only 2 innings in Double A, but they started him in Double A Springfield, which makes me think that we could see him in Triple A as early as this season, and potentially could make it up to the major leagues by opening day next year if they really want to rush him. I don't really see the need to rush him though, because this is a rebuilding Cardinals team, but it's a very exciting prospect. Excited to see what he can do in the minor leagues. I think long term, his best case scenario for him would be, or the best spot for him would be as a reliever, but I think he could make it work as a starter too. For the Cardinals, it is Liam Doyle, left-handed pitcher out of Tennessee. He also did move a couple times. He transferred a few times. On to the Cleveland Guardians, where we have Jason Chourio, outfielder, who is a little bit lower on this list for the Guardians. He's not a top 100 prospect, and a lot of shine has actually he actually really dropped from the 2025 to the 2026 rankings. 55 hit, 40 power, 60 run, 55 arm, 55 field, 45 overall. Brother of Jackson Chourio, signed for $1.2 million out of Venezuela back in 2022. He has been playing. He got up to high A last year. We had a 664 OPS, so he kind of struggled a little bit there. Definitely explains why he's kind of dropped down prospect rankings there, down to 12th in the system. I wish I saw that before writing out my list. Another guy to keep an eye out for is their first round draft pick, 27th overall, Jace Laviolette at Texas A&M. A very power first, bat first profile for Laviolette. Jason Chourio. A lot of one thing I noticed is a lot of the Guardians' top prospects are all 2026 guys. Travis Bazzana, Chase DeLauder, Angel Yanao, Parker Messick, Cooper Engel, Cal Stewart, Steven. So a lot of the Guardians guys are probably most likely debuting this year or debuted last year. So Jason Churio, someone to keep an eye out for the Cleveland Guardian system. Let's go over to the Tigers. The Tigers have a lot of top prospects, but a lot of those top prospects are going to be making the team this year. And that leads us down to their fourth rated prospect, but they have 4 prospects in the top 40. And there was 2 guys I could have chosen from. Josue Briseño, who's who I went with. He is going to start the year in Double A. A 50 grade hit, 60 grade power, 30 grade run, 55 grade arm, 40 field, 55 overall. Very bat first, power first profile. Who signed with the Tigers back in 2022 for around $800,000. Last year, he got up to Double A Erie and had a 716 OPS in 45 games. He did 1 dot in High A, West Michigan. But other than that, 5 home runs, 19 RBIs in Double A Erie. Very limited sample size. He will be starting the year in Erie. Another guy to look out for, and I didn't include this list, but include him on my list because he was hurt last year. He only played 35 games, and that'd be Bryce Rayner, their first round pick from 2024, who was selected just 2 picks after Connor Griffin. Someone to keep an eye out for as well as Bryce Rayner, but I went with Josue Briseño for this one. Let's keep it going. We have the Kansas City Royals, and we have one of their top prospects here, Blake Mitchell, catcher. Their top 2 prospects are both catchers. Mitchell expected up in 2027, the 8th overall pick in the 2023 draft, a 40 hit, 55 power, 30 run, 60 arm, 55 field, 55 overall. A power and defense first profile. Last year got up to High A with Quad Cities. The River Bandits had a 666 OPS, walked 45 times, struck out 71 times, so a little bit high on the strikeout rate there. Something he needs to work on for sure. Only 49 games, so very limited last year. Only played 60 games between rookie ball and High A, but someone who I think can move decently fast through this Royal system. As long as he can get his offensive profile a little bit better, I think he can be someone who makes an impact. Their top prospect we talked about, he actually made his debut last year, and that was Carter Jensen. That was their top prospect heading into the year. But their next one is Blake Mitchell, catcher for the Royals. Another catching prospect. We'll move on to the Twins, as we have Eduardo Taid, who was part of that the Yohan Duran trade last year, who made it up to High A with Cedar Rapids. 50 hit, 60 power, 35 run, 60 arm, 45 field, 55 overall. I believe catcher will be his long-term home, signed for $90,000 out of the Dominican Republic back in 2023. Made it up to High A where he had a 694 OPS in only 30 games, very limited sample size. He spent 75 games in Low A Clearwater, and he spent 7 games in High A for the Phillies, but before he was traded to the Twins. So very, very difficult year for him last year. Did have 11 home runs in 75 games with Clearwater. He's going to be a power first catcher, someone who can slug, but it's not going to be do too much else and could probably hold behind the plate there. Eduardo Taid of the Minnesota Twins is where we're looking at there. Next one is a prospect that the more I've looked at, the more I'm getting more excited about. Is Caleb Bottomer, shortstop, third baseman of the Chicago White Sox, who last year made it up to High A. He was the 43rd overall pick in the 2nd round in the 2024 draft. 55 hit, 55 power, 50 run, 55 arm, 55 field, 55 overall. Just an overall above average prospect. Drafted out of high school. Last year made it up to High A where he 1 dotted. Granted, only 11 games. With Winston-Salem, had 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 7 walks, 10 strikeouts, and 36 at-bats. Only 11 games. He did play 96 games in Low A with Kannapolis and had an 858 OPS, so looked really good in those 96 games, where he did have 10 home runs, 58 RBIs. Caleb Bonner, someone I'm definitely looking to climb up lists for the 2026 season. Let's head over to the East now, where we're going to talk about the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, a lot of the Phillies' top prospects are all guys who are going to be in Philadelphia this year with Aiden Miller, with Andrew Painter, with Justin Crawford, which leads us down to, I believe, their fourth rated prospect. And that would be Gage Wood, right-handed pitcher. Who they drafted last year in the first round, 26 overall, out of Arkansas. If you remember him, he threw a no-hitter against Murray State in Omaha. He has a 70 grade fastball, 55 grade curveball, 45 grade slider, 45 grade changeup, 55 control, 50 overall. Definitely someone whose stock rose because of his performance in the postseason with Arkansas. He signed below Slaughter on $3 million. Last year, got into two innings at Clearwater. Nothing to write home about, as he went 2 innings to a 4.5 ERA, struck out 5, walked 2. So he got into, I think, one game. One game. Nothing to write home about. Just getting a couple innings under his belt. Someone who I think could be a decent riser through the Philadelphia Phillies system this season. All right, let's go to my New York Mets now up next, as we have a new top 100 prospect into this list, A.J. Ewing, who is a outfielder, second baseman, who will be probably starting the year in Double-A, 55 hit, 40 power, 70 run, 50 arm, 60 field, 55 overall. He's definitely he's definitely someone that has been a fast riser in the system, which I think he is also the reason why the Mets were okay with trading away Jet Williams. Last year in Binghamton had an 801 OPS in very limited sample size, 28 games. Spent most of the year in High A Brooklyn, which is very, very difficult for left-handed hitters to hit, and still had a 775 OPS, 2 home runs, 26 RBIs. Not a huge power profile per se, very low on the power, but someone with a lot of speed and a very nice hit tool who, if you like batting average, you'll like A.J. Ewing, because he is somebody who throughout the last year, he hit 315. He hit 400 with St. Lucie, 288 with Brooklyn, 339 in Binghamton. So someone who can definitely hit with average, play good outfield or second base. I've seen him play a decent amount of outfield for the Mets so far in spring training. A.J. Ewing, the 97th rated prospect in all of baseball. The Mets' number 4 prospect in baseball. The 3 guys above him all had major league time last year, with McLean, Benj, who will probably be getting some major league time this year, and Tong. Let's move on to the Miami Marlins, as we have their first round pick from last year, Avia Arquette's 7th overall pick in the 2025 draft. Their top 3 guys in the system should all be seeing some major league time this year, between Thomas White, Robbie Snelling, and Owen Casey. And Avia Arquette was someone that I was interesting to see where he was going to go in the draft. I believe he won the Golden Spikes last year for Arkansas. He was someone who did Oregon State. My bad. He was the Oregon State guy. Aloy was the Arkansas guy that won the Golden Spikes. Got into 27 games in High A, Beloit with the Sky Carp, right out of college. Had a 673 OPS, not the greatest, but he is definitely someone who's just an overall solid profile, who I look forward to seeing what he'll do in his first full professional year. Signed for a little bit more than $7 million, and he made his pro debut in High A. So it looks like the Marlins might be looking to move him quickly through the system. So definitely someone to keep an eye on for that potentially could make it up to AAA this year, maybe definitely Double-A this year, if not potentially AAA. Let's move on. The Atlanta Braves, and this is their top-rated prospect in their system, left-handed pitcher Cam Caminiti, 2024 first-round pick for them, 24th overall, prep lefty with a 60 grade fastball, 55 grade slider, 55 grade changeup, 50 control, 55 overall. Somebody who got into a decent amount of games last year. Not a huge sample size. Got up to low A Augusta with the Green Jackets and appeared in 13 games. Started all 13 of them through 56 and a third innings pitched. Struck out 75, walked 26 with a 2.08 ERA. someone that the Braves are definitely very excited about. He was a two-way player in high school. They drafted him for his arm, though. He signed for just about full slaughter on $3.56 million. And this is one thing to keep an eye on him for because he has a lot of talent. He did start 2025 late. He had some forearm tendonitis, which limited him to the limited amount of starts that he had, where he had 4 starts in rookie ball where he did not look good. But then once he got up to low A, he was good. Cam Kiminiti, someone I could see getting up to high A, maybe double A this year. All right, one of the top guys on this list, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do a video for non-debuting prospects, I had somebody that was a Nationals fan comment talking about how limited their MLB-ready prospects are, and this is why. They have a lot. There is a lot to choose from for the Washington Nationals because they have 3 guys in their system alone in the top 100, according to Pipeline, that are not expected to debut until at least 2027 between Harlan Susana, Travis Sequoia, and then the one I went with here, the number 1 overall pick in last year's draft, Eli Willits, who turned 18 back in December. So he was 17 at draft time. 60 hit, 45 grade power, 60 grade run, 55 grade arm, 60 field, 60 overall. Due up in 2028. Someone who could be a decently fast riser considering his age. Would not shock me to see him debut by 20 years old, especially with how young he was when he was drafted. He'll be starting the year in low A Fredericksburg. He had a 300 batting average last year in Fredericksburg in 15 games, 50 at bats, no home runs, 5 RBIs, 7 walks to 15 strikeouts or to 12 strikeouts. Someone who number 1 overall pick is going to have a lot of hype behind him, and I think he can have a pretty good season here in low A and potentially get to high A, maybe have a very similar season to someone like Jesus Madej last year, the 13th rated prospect, Eli Willits. I think can move up to potentially double A by the end of the season. I think that he could be someone who could be a fast riser in that national system. Moving on to the Toronto Blue Jays, and it is their 3rd rated prospect. Now, I could have gone with another first-round pick in last year's draft with JoJo Parker, who is the 45th rated prospect in all of baseball, the 8th overall pick for them out of high school, 19 years old. But I'm going to talk about Arjun Namala, who was the 20th overall pick in the 2023 draft. He's gone very slow because through the system. He struggled back in 2024, where they started him in an A ball, and then they brought him back down to the complex before sending him back up to A ball. And last year he looked okay in Vancouver, only 120 games, but a 694 OPS with 13 home runs, 61 RBIs, 55 walks, 116 strikeouts, so 17 stolen bases. Someone the Blue Jays are very high on, 45 hits, 60 power, 50 run, 60 arm, 50 field, 55 overall. Someone I'm definitely keeping an eye on to probably make it up to double, if not triple A this year. And I think he needs to be, I think that they say 2028. I think he can potentially be a late season call up in 27 potentially if he plays up to his expectations. Arjun Namala, shortstop of the Toronto Blue Jays. Keeping it going here, and we're heading over to the New York Yankees with their top prospect in their system, George Lombard Jr., the 32nd rated prospect in all of baseball, the number 1 in the Yankee system. Last year got up to double A somersault, where he has 695 OPS. Just that bat isn't connecting yet. And I think that is one thing that that could raise a little bit of concerns in George Lombard Jr.'s game. A 45 hit tool, 55 power, 55 run, 55 arm, 60 field, a very glove first profile. And he is an overall infielder. He plays some second, plays some shorts, plays some third. He can probably play anywhere in the infield. He was the 26th overall pick in the 2023 draft. Signed for an overslot, $3.3 million out of high school. But he's somebody where we need to see the bat start to take a step forward this year. And I think this year could be a very, very telling year for George Lombard Jr. Definitely someone to keep an eye on for if you are a Yankee fan trying to pay attention to the system because he is their top-rated guy. Spencer Jones, I think, could potentially make the team this year as well. Let's move on to the Boston Red Sox, and we are talking about their second-rated prospect in the system, the 31st rated prospect in all of baseball, and that is Franklin Arias. Got up to Double-A Portland with the Sea Dogs last year, where I believe he will be starting the year. Only got into 10 games there in Double-A. 60 hit, 40 power, 40 run, 55 arm, 60 field. So a glove first, hit first profile, not a lot of power, not a lot of speed. So kind of an interesting profile there. Signed in 2023 for a little over $500,000 out of Venezuela, 525. Last year, played in 3 different levels: low A, high A, and double A. Played 10 games in Portland. Played most of the year in high A, Greenville. 87 games where he had a 709 OPS, 265 batting average, 6 home runs, 49 RBIs. So someone who is going to start the year in Double-A, probably get to Triple-A by the end of the season, and could break camp with the Red Sox next year. He's expected up in 2027. Franklin Arias, shortstop of the Boston Red Sox. Second to last one here, as we have Theo Gillen, shortstop for the Tampa Bay Rays, the second-rated prospect in their system. Carson Williams, their top-rated prospect, got some MLB time last year. Theo Gillen repeated low A Charleston last year, as he only got into 8 games in 24 out of his draft year, and then played in 73 games last year with an 820 OPS, 5 home runs, 18 RBIs, 36 stolen bases, 60 hit, 50 power, 60 run, 45 arm, 55 field, 55 overall. A very solid prospect, drafted 18th overall in the 2024 draft out of high school. They expect him up in 2028. He's somebody who I believe will start in high A after playing the full season, or about half a season, because I think he was limited to injuries last year, which limited him to 73 games in A ball. So someone, I think that they can probably start him in high A this year, and we'll see how that goes. But Theo Gillen, shortstop of the Tampa Bay Rays, definitely someone to keep an eye out for. Final one on this list, and it is a draft pick from last year's draft, and it is the Golden Spikes winner for last year's draft, and that will be Welia Aloy. Now, there was another guy I could have gone with, and I could have gone Nate George, who is in the top 100 prospects for them, but I went with Aloy because he's somebody I wanted to highlight. The Golden Spikes winner from last year out of Arkansas. He won both Golden Spikes and SEC Player of the Year. 50 hit, 55 power, 45 run, 55 arm, 55 field, 50 overall. Got up to A ball, played 20 games last year with Delmarva, the Shorebirds, had an 856 OPS, 2 home runs, 14 RBIs. And the Orioles do have a bunch of guys in their system that aren't debuting next year to keep an eye out for as well. Ike Irish, another guy, catcher, outfield, first base, which I think he's going to be more of that corner outfield profile rather than that catcher profile, or he could be a first base profile as well. He got up to Delmara last year as well. And then Nate George, a outfielder to keep an eye on as well, who was a 16th round pick in 2024, who has absolutely been flying up the system and is now their number 3 rated prospect in the top 100 as well. So someone to keep an eye out for there. But that is everybody in that is one player for every team, non-debuting prospect to keep an eye out for. Let's go over the list real quick before we head on out. The Los Angeles Dodgers, Josue De Paula. San Diego Padres, Cruz Schoolcraft. Arizona Diamondbacks, Slade Caldwell. San Francisco Giants, Joe Star, Herc Gonzalez. Colorado Rockies, Ethan Holiday. Seattle Mariners, Cade Anderson. Houston Astros, Xavier Nayans. Texas Rangers, A.J. Russell. The Athletics, Jamie Arnold. Los Angeles Angels, Johnny Slowinski. The Milwaukee Brewers, Jesus Madej. Ethan Conrad for the Chicago Cubs. Alfredo Duno for the Cincinnati Reds. Seth Hernandez, Pittsburgh Pirates. Liam Doyle, St. Louis Cardinals. Jason Chourio, Cleveland Guardians. Josue Briseño, Detroit Tigers. Blake Mitchell, Kansas City Royals. Eduardo Taid, Minnesota Twins. Caleb Bonner, the Chicago White Sox, Gage Wood, Philadelphia Phillies, A.J. Ewing, New York Mets, Avia Arquette, Miami Marlins, Cam Caminiti, Atlanta Braves, Eli Willits, Washington Nationals, Arjun Namala, Toronto Blue Jays, George Lombard Jr., New York Yankees, Franklin Arias, Boston Red Sox, Theo Gillen, Tampa Bay Rays, and Welia Aloy for the Baltimore Orioles. That's going to do it for this one. Well, thank you guys as always for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.